Good evening, everyone. My name is Devin McNally. I'm an associate planner with the County of Placer. I'm really excited to share with you guys tonight our First Time Homebuyer Program. And we have a fantastic consultant, Robin Van Ecklenburg, who is helping us underwrite and administer the program. And so tonight, she's going to be walking us through the application process, some of the items that you'll need, some of kind of the main questions, and then we'll be getting to your questions as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Robin and she can walk you through the program. So Robin.
Hey, thank you, Devin. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to thank you all for joining us tonight and spending a little time, and we're excited to be here. Just a little bit of background on myself. I am a housing consultant contracted with the County of Placer, and I have had the privilege of working with the wonderful housing team here for about the last year and a half. I have about 17 years of experience in working with down payment assistance programs and first-time homebuyer programs all throughout the state of California. So my hope is that one, we can walk through and learn how to apply and some of the things that will be needed when you apply for the program, but two, that I can be a resource to you in your journey to home ownership. So our agenda is pretty simple tonight. We're going to do a very brief overview of the program, how it works, documents that you will need to have in order to apply. And then we're going to go ahead and go through the online application process and how that works. And then finally, we will end with kind of next steps. And then, of course, your questions at the end. So I want to talk a little bit about the First Time Homebuyer Assistance Program with the county. The county has a great program that's specifically designed for first-time buyers that are looking to purchase a home in the unincorporated parts of the county. The goal of the program is to make loans to you as a buyer that help reduce your mortgage. So essentially it's like a gap to fill in between the price of the home that you want and the loan that you are qualified for. So it's a gap financing. Down payment assistance can go up to $125,000 per loan. And you don't have to make any monthly payments on that. And that's really important as a first-time home buyer when you're looking to qualify and looking to get into your first home. You know, it's expensive, especially right now with rising interest rates. So you don't have to pay that loan back or make monthly payments on that loan. What will happen is when you want to sell your home or at the end of the 30-year term, then you'd pay the loan back. And then there's a restriction that will be tied with the First Time Homebuyer Program. So again, you must be a first-time homebuyer. So what does that mean? That means that you cannot have owned a home in the last 3 years. And we will look at a few things to certify that you are a first-time homebuyer. We're going to look at your credit report as we get further in the process with you. And then we'll look at your tax returns and we'll go over those in just a second. You must be pre-approved for a mortgage loan. So what we want you to do is we want you to contact a mortgage lender or a bank and get pre-approved for a loan. What the lender will do is essentially qualify you to see how much you can afford. Also, you must make less than 80% of the county's median income. So if you look at the chart at the bottom of your screen, you want to look at the household size and then the income limits. And I will just make a note, the income limits actually are changing. We just got notified this afternoon that there's new income limits for 2022. We have not updated this yet, but those will be published as of first. So be on the lookout for that. Incomes did go up a little bit. So if you're looking at this and saying, okay, well, I'm a household size of 4 and might make a little bit more than that 72,500. We have a little bit higher income limits now, so don't discount yourself and count yourself out of applying. Really encourage you to apply, and let us decide and determine if it seems like you'd be eligible for the program. Also, you will need to have a down payment of your own. So we would need you to have 3% down, and that's 3% of the total sales price. So if you're buying a home for, say, $400,000, we'd be looking for you to have a 3% down, so like $12,000. And then again, the property must be in unincorporated Placer County. So what documents are you going to need to apply for the First Time Homebuyer Program? So first thing is you're going to need income documents. And what exactly are we going to look at and want? We are going to want recent pay stubs for all adult members of the household. We are going to want any court-ordered spousal support or child support. We are going to want any Social Security or permanent disability. Anything that is an income source and is kind of a steady and dependable income source that we can use to determine what your total household income is. So when you're looking to apply, I want you to keep track of this list of income documents that you're going to need, and make sure that you have a way to file them electronically. So, you know, with a scanner or fax machine, or potentially your cell phone, but those can kind of be challenging to read. So just make note of those, because those are the documents we're going to need you to have ready and available to upload once we get to the application portion. The next thing that we need is 3 years of your tax return. So if you were to apply tomorrow, we'd want 2019, 2020, and 2021. For those of you who have maybe gotten an extension for 2021, we'd like 2018, 2019, and 2020 tax returns, and we want your full returns. So we don't want blanks. We've seen some, sometimes some blank forms come in. So make sure that they're the filed copies of what you've submitted to the IRS. And then the last thing that we're going to need for the initial pre-qualification is a lender pre-qualification form. And I'm going to go over exactly what that is in just a second. Can I get to the questions, Devin, real quick? Can I break and just go over those? So we had a question on income. Is the income requirement for gross or net on the income limits? That is a great question. We are going to be looking at your gross household income. So who are we looking at to determine what that household income is? It would be anyone over the age of 18 who is not a full-time student. So if it was, let's say husband and a wife, and maybe a mother-in-law who had Social Security, we'd look at all of those adult members of the household that are not full-time students. Anyone under the age of 18, we would not include income from those sources. Okay, so the next thing we wanted to talk about is what is a loan pre-qualification? What exactly does that mean? So loan pre-qualification is the first step that you need to go through in order to determine if you qualify for a loan. So your lender will pull your credit and look at your debt. And what they're trying to determine is if you're credit worthy and how much of a loan you can qualify for based off of your existing loans that you have or your existing debt that you have and your income. They'll then again review your income, and the lender may or may not use the same income that we would look at the lenders have different rules on how they calculate and determine and what income sources can and can't be used, so that their income may look a little bit different than ours. So that's again something we'd have to qualify. And then they determine, one, if you qualify for a loan, and two, how much of a loan you'd qualify for. So loan pre-qualifications. The applicant must be pre-qualified by a lender in order to apply for our program. So the process is generally free of charge and can be done over the phone or in person, or sometimes online. And you can use whatever lender you would like to use. However, they have to approve our program, and that's just a lender requirement. So as you're going through this process, you do need to let your lender know that you're looking at the county loan, and that there's some interactions we need to have with them to make sure they have everything they need to approve the loan from our end. We do have several lenders that have approved the program already. So if you need help finding a lender, we do have some resources for you. And we're happy to make those available on lenders that have approved the program thus far. And the lenders can give you an estimated monthly payment based on the loan amount you've been qualified for. So as they're determining if you can qualify and how much you can qualify for, they'll give you a breakdown of kind of more or less what that payment's gonna be. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just jump over to some of the questions that we have here. So one of the questions has to do with income. Should average 3 years of income be less than the county's median? We don't necessarily average income. We kind of project out what we think your income is going to be for the next 12 months. So we definitely look at your 3 years of income, but you may have something, as an example, a new job that the lender maybe can't use in qualifying you for the lender income, but we'd use that in determining your household income. So an average isn't quite going to do it. We're going to look at what you've done historically and then project it out with recent pay stubs. So I have another question. So I'm a lender. So what if I used for qualifying must continue 3 years? I have a buyer receiving SSA for her daughter, which turns 18 in 2 years. Will you consider this income in your maximum income limits? That's a great question. So no, we would not, right? If she's under, if she's close to turning 18 within like the next couple of years, we would not include that in our income limits. I would definitely have them apply. We have to use income sources that are gonna be able to be projected out in the future. So no, we would not count that as income either. And so when we're going through this process with you, those are some of the questions that we ask as we're getting your application. We look at, right, the age of your kids. If you were, for example, receiving child support or some kind of Social Security benefit, we look at the age of the children to see what we could include. The next question has to do with unincorporated areas. So what are some unincorporated areas in the county? Granite Bay, certain parts of Roseville, parts of Tahoe. Devin, I know I'm missing probably a bunch.
Yeah, so there, we can pull up a map a little bit later, but essentially anywhere outside of the major cities, so that's Lincoln, Rockland, Loomis, Roseville, Auburn, and Colfax, is unincorporated. So this includes Penryn, Newcastle, Ophir, North Auburn, Weimar, Meadow Vista, Forest Hill, all of East Placer, including the Tahoe Basin, Sheridan, the western kind of part outside of Roseville, and then the Granite Bay area as well. And so all of those areas would be eligible for assistance under the program.
Fantastic. So the next thing I wanted to give you was what does a loan pre-qualification look like? So what's going to happen is you're going to contact your lender. They're going to ask you a series of questions and have you fill out an application. They will run your credit. They will ask you for, quite honestly, a number of the things that we're asking you for, right? Your maybe not your tax returns, but they'll ask you for your, like generally your W-2s and your recent pay stubs and bank statements. And then once they have done a review of your loan file, they will issue something called a loan pre-qualification letter. And it's generally a one-page letter that summarizes, and this is just an example one that we pulled from the internet, and it summarizes the terms of what you've been pre-qualified for, pre-approved for. It'll have your information, your congratulatory pre-approval, and then the loan terms. So really what we want to see is that they pre-qualified you and pulled your credit, and then what loan amount and purchase price that they've pre-qualified you for. So they'll issue you generally a one-page letter that looks similar to this. When you are in the process of applying online for our program, as available, and save it as a PDF generally works, or you know, a picture file is fine too, just so that we can see, one, who you're working with, because if they haven't approved our program, we need to reach out, and two, how much you've been qualified for. And then I have a question regarding the application process. And the question is, should we start the application process before looking for a house? Yes. So I recommend, one, you get pre-qualified with a lender, right, before you start looking at a house, just so you know kind of how much you can qualify for and afford. And two, you want to start this process with us right after you do that with a lender, so that we can get you onto our list and our pre-approved list, so that as you are going out and making offers on homes, you have the ability to know that you've been pre-qualified for our program, and that will likely make your offer, you know, stronger, right? Because you'll have you know, a loan pre-qualification letter from us saying, yeah, you've been pre-qualified. So I recommend you know, starting that process early and before you go shopping for a loan. For a home, I mean. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually do a mock application. So Devin, can I think I can share screen, right? Oh, I can't.
You should see if you're able to now.
Yep.
In the meantime, I'm going to quickly answer Michelle's question regarding deed restrictions. So for the deed restriction, it is currently a 30-year deed restriction. Apologies for that. It essentially limits the purchase price of the home to the appreciation of the amount that there has been a change in income. So for example, if the median income in the county goes up 10%, then the purchase price would be allowed to go up 10%. The idea is to keep the home affordable to low income individuals should you sell it. And that runs for 30 years. Once the 30 years are up, the deed restriction is done and you can sell it at whatever price you would like. And that's to make sure that we keep the affordability as part of kind of the program itself. And it is one of the requirements of some of the federal and state funding we receive. You can also see it on the website. We have a link to the website, and we can also post a link online as well.
Yep. And in fact, I think, yeah, we'll go ahead and drop. Can you see my screen okay? Awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in the chat for everyone. And just so you have the link of where I'm going. So I would like copy and paste it or page mark that so you have it, and so it's nice and easy for you to find. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do kind of a mock applying online for our first time home buyer program. So first step is you're going to go to the link that I sent you. And I think just a side note, Devin, we can also email that to everyone, right? Who is, I think we can go ahead and send this out to you all after our meeting's done so that you have that as well. So you're going to land on a page called the First Time Homebuyer Assistance Program. And you're going to scroll down to the button that says apply for the program. Before we get there, there is all of the information that we've kind of gone over already is outlined here. It's a one-page kind of outline of how the program works. I will say most down payment programs work, you know, kind of the same. So, you know, there's a whole lot of difference here with this one. As Devin said, there's state and federal funds. So, you know, we're mandated on how we, you know, the terms of how the program works, but those are all outlined here. And so after this meeting, if you're thinking, gosh, there was a question I had, or, you know, I may have forgotten, start at the website because there's a lot of really good user-friendly information available there. And then from there, reach out to Devin or myself, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. So first step, we're going to go ahead and do an application. So we're going to click the button called Apply for the Program. Okay, do you see a second? Do you see the second screen? Sometimes Zoom is going to make sure you can see everything I'm seeing. So this is what's called the Housing Program Interest Form. So what we're going to have you do, and I'm going to just make up a fake buyer here, is you're going to fill this out for you, for your household. So fill it out completely and as thoroughly as you possibly can. So John Smith, and he lives at 123 Main Street in Roseville. And let's do his number. And you can see it's pretty user-friendly so far. And we're going to actually use my email address because I want it to come to me so that I can show you the email. And Mr. Smith has a household size of 4. And so it's essentially anyone who's going to be living in the home is who we want to count in the household. And I have a question in the chat as we're going through this. Is the income for 2 people each or combined? So it's the total household income. So it's for whoever. We are looking at anyone who is over the age of 18, who is not a full-time student. That total household income cannot exceed the program income limits that we showed you a few minutes ago. So what you do is you'd want to look at the household size of your household size of 4. You'd want to look at that maximum limit, and that would give you an idea of what our maximum income limits are. All right, so then we ask you some very basic questions. Have you ever filed for a bankruptcy? My answer is no. Do you have a family member who works for the county? My answer is no there too. And then we're going to start uploading some files. So this is asking for 3 years of tax returns. So I'm going to upload my 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax returns. And it'll take just a second to upload. And then, as I mentioned, I showed you the pre-qualification just a minute ago. We're going to want to upload that one-page form from your lender. And then remember, I told you to have your income documents ready, your recent income pay stubs, or maybe SSI benefits, and you're going to upload that as well. So as soon as you're done uploading those documents, and this is really important, because if you don't upload the right documents, once you finished with this, and we get it on our back end as we're going through to see everything that you uploaded, if it's not the right information, we have to request more information from you. So it's just going to take more time for you. So be just thoughtful when you're uploading the documents that we're asking for, that you're uploading the right ones. If you're not sure, or if you have questions, contact myself or Devin, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. So the more complete the application is at this point of the process, the faster it is for us to pre-qualify you and for you to get an answer on whether you qualify in the program. So I'm going to go ahead and just do next. And we ask a few other questions. So age of the head of household. So Mr. Smith's applying and he's 40 and he's male. We'll go ahead and just answer some of these race questions, not disabled and not a senior. So you can see we do have some questions that we have to ask, some demographic questions, and it's a pretty straightforward application process. So once you answer that last question, what we do is we ask you to sign your name. Smith, you can type it, you can draw it, you can upload a signature, whatever you want. I'm actually going to go back though, because I want to remove something. I'm going to remove my 2019 taxes, and Devin's going to send me. So we're going to kind of go through what the process looks like. So I've submitted it, and now on our back end, Devin's going to send me a notification through my email. Okay, can you see my email, Devin? Great.
Yeah, I can see it.
Awesome.
And also, while we're doing this, a couple of questions came in, and I can try to cover a couple of them. So can the purchase house be for an investment purpose? The answer is no. It has to be owner occupied by a low income household. We do annual monitoring to make sure it is owner occupied, and that is part of the deed restriction. If you don't do that, you will be found in, we would call the loan due at that point. Can the purchased property be a multifamily house? It cannot be, it has to be one unit. So if that unit is a condo, a mobile home, a like single family home, a halfplex, that is like an attached home, that is fine. It can't be used to purchase like two units. It is a single family. Are there any restrictions on renting a room in the house? There is, that's a good question. The way that we would look at it is going forward, like, are you an owner occupier? So if you want to do a home sharing program, that would be within the realms of you using your home. The point at which you are not owner occupying and you are renting it out for investment income would be when that would be the trigger for a violation of the deed restriction. And then the final question regarding does the person work for the county? So a county worker can qualify for the program. It is more to ensure that county workers are not using connections to benefit. So they will be subject to a higher scrutiny. So to ensure that the funds are spent wisely. So.
Fantastic. A great question so far, everyone. So continue to send those to us, and we'll continue answering them as they come in. Before I roll to the next slide, or to my email rather, we have one more question. Are there any programs for higher income households? I'm single and I make over the income limit. So right now, this first time homebuyer program, we're limited to the income charts that we showed you, right? The 80s and below. Eventually, we are working on other programs that could target higher incomes. We don't have anything to go over with you today on those, but stay tuned, because we are working on some other programs that will be around hopefully in the future. And also I will point out that the state of California through Cal HFA has just announced some really great programs that you might qualify for as well, that are like, I think up to 10% down, and are essentially a grant after so many years that you could potentially qualify for, because they do allow higher income. So I'd say that might be something that you want to talk to your lender about as well. So just good information for you. And then I had one other question. I don't think I answered this one. The income for each adult non-full-time student is what is calculated. That's correct. We'd look at the adult 18 and older income, and then we project out, as long as they're not a full-time student. If they're a full-time student, then we wouldn't have to include that in our calculation. Okay, and then one other question, and then I'm going to go ahead and get back to my my next step. Is it okay if the other members of the households are already homeowners already? The answer to that is no. This is for first-time homebuyers, so we look to ensure that both the applicant and any co-applicants are not first-time homebuyers. And how do we get approved as a lender? So if I think the question is, if you are a lender, how do you get approved? We have documents that we can send you. So reach out to myself or Devin after this, and we'd love to, I'd love to get you all the information that we have on the program, and get you to approve it through your system. And then we can add you to our website. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and circle back to our application. So if you remember, we applied online, and my application wasn't actually complete. I didn't upload everything I needed to. So you're gonna get an email if you upload an incomplete application, and it's gonna say, hey, there's some more information that is needed. And when I am interacting with you, or Devin's interacting with you, we will outline what you're missing on the email so that you're clear. And then what's nice is you get a copy of the application and a secure link to upload. Actually, I pulled up the wrong one, sorry. A secure link to upload the new documentation that you need to, that maybe you missed the first go round. So one thing I do want to point out is that when we request more information, we don't want any confidential information exchanged to us on email. We want to answer your questions over email or over phone, but we do not want any confidential documents exchanged via email. The portals that we use are very secure, and the links that we send you are secure links. So as you're going through the process, if you get a request or please submit more information like you see in front of you. Do not send them to Devin or myself's email, but use the link that we send you. Did you have
Robin, are
anything?
you trying to show the email, by the way? Because we're seeing just the main thank you for your submission.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I can't tell what you can see. Let's see, please resubmit. Let's do this one. Please resubmit. Do you see that one now?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so I uploaded my application. I got a copy of my application. Devin reviewed it and realized that it was an incomplete application and sent me a notification to resubmit some things. So you're going to use this link. As I mentioned, don't send anything over email. And you'll click the link for please proceed to application. And look at there. It's our application that we already filled out. Everything is saved in our system.
You might need to switch screens at this point.
Oh, yeah, sorry. One of the nuances with Zoom, one second, it doesn't always. Here it is. Sorry, took me a second to find it. Okay, so you're going to click that link and then it will take you back to the interest form that you filled out. And it's the same link, right? So then I can see that I need to upload my 2019 tax returns. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Everything else was fine. My pre-qualification letter was there. My pay stubs are there. I have nothing to change. It's gonna make me re-sign my, if I can spell tonight, re-sign my application, and then I will submit. And now I'm going to go back to my email. Did you approve me, Devin?
Just approved.
Just approved. All right. So I'm going to get an email in just a second here, and then I'm going to show you what that looks like, just so you can kind of see. I want you to understand what some of the things that you're going to be receiving from us, what they look like and what to expect. So you're really, really comfortable. I haven't gotten the email yet saying that I'm approved. So it's just taking a second to come through. So anyway, you'll get a link and it will say, congratulations, you've been pre-approved. There's going to be some more information in that application and that link. In fact, I can do one that I did earlier today. Yeah, sorry, it's taken a second to come through. I think it's likely on my end. So, you know, we can definitely circle back to that. I can likely show you, here we go. I'll show you the one that I did earlier today, just to refresh myself with the system. Okay.
And in the meantime, we have a few questions.
Great.
So one person asked, I haven't had taxes in 3 years, so they only have the past 2 years of taxes. Are they still eligible for the program?
Yeah, well, we'll definitely need 3 years. If you filed an extension, we would just likely make that a prior to funding condition, or we'd ask for 2018 tax returns that we use. Essentially, we need to make sure what your income is, right? And kind of look at your history of your income. But more importantly, we want to make sure that you're not collecting or claiming any mortgage interest on that. So we look and use taxes for a couple of different purposes. So from our standpoint, we'd have to have 3 years. So, you know, we just ask that we'd go back then, right, to the last, I'd say the last year that you filed.
Another question. what is, I missed in the income competitive, what is the percentage? I assume this is like, what is the maximum income level, which would be the low income, and it's 80% of the median. Another question, is it okay if other members of the household are homeowners already?
So the applicants on title that are on the loan have to be first-time home buyers. If you have, let's say you have 4 people in the household, it's a husband and a wife, and they're the only 2 that are going to be on title. And then let's say you have a child and maybe a grandmother who lives with you, and she isn't going on title. We'd still want her income documents, but we're actually not pulling her credit, and we're not verifying her first-time homebuyer eligibility. We're verifying yours as the borrower. So you know, we wouldn't ask for any of that. There's a few things that we look at when we're qualifying you. One, the total household income, right? But we also want to make sure that the people that are on the mortgage can afford the mortgage, right? And so we're looking at it with a few different lenses when we're qualifying you.
Another question, how do we get approved as a lender? That's an easy one. Please reach out to us. You can reach out to myself or Robin. We're happy to send you the documents, and you can have your legal counsel look at them and sign off on them. And then we're happy to put you as someone who is willing to work with the program. We're always looking for new lenders. So we're very happy to kind of sit down, answer any questions, and get these pre-approved.
And can I add something to that? And we actually are going to look at likely doing like a lender training as well, probably in the next couple of months. We do have some programs specific to East Placer County that are very unique and probably a whole lot different than this program, and likely one that you've seen before. So definitely reach out to Devin or myself. We can get you the legal information and walk you through those questions, but we'll encourage you to come to the lender training that we're going to put on here in a couple of months as well.
And then another question, can these funds be used for down payment and closing costs, or is it just the down payment?
Yeah, the funds can be used for down payment and closing costs. You still will need your 3% down. So you're still going to need 3%. The funds are fairly flexible in terms of how your lender uses them to qualify you. We do have a combined loan to value limit, but with your 3% down, it's generally not an issue. So yes, it can be used for both.
We'll get to more questions, but I do want to keep it moving. So
yeah, fantastic. So here it is. So let me go ahead and reshare my screen. So once you submit a complete application and we review your income and your tax returns and your lender pre-qualification, we will then submit what's called a pre-approval on our end. So we'll add you to our applicant pool, and then you'll get an email that has some next steps. And we're kind of cleaning this up a little bit, but this will give you an idea of kind of the next steps and things that we're going to need in order to finalize your loan program with us. But in the meantime, you're able to go ahead and start shopping, right? So you've got your loan pre-approval and you've got your county pre-approval. So this would hopefully enable you to go ahead and start looking at homes and making offers. So Devin, I think we can go ahead, and I just kind of wanted them to see what more or less what kind of interaction we can expect. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. We'll go back to our PowerPoint.
So,
In the meantime, we're waiting for the PowerPoint to reload, I'll go ahead and take a few of these questions. How does the timeline look? So I guess you're saying how long should you anticipate? So it's generally 3 to 5 days from the time you submit a complete application for us to review and approve you. You know, I generally work with the majority of the first time home buyer loans. So I try to look at files, you know, within about 24 to 48 hours. I don't want us to be a hindrance in your process. I want us to be helpful in the process. So, you know, if you have submitted a complete application and I don't have a whole lot of questions and it's fairly self-explanatory, you know, I can generally do that within a couple of days. And then how much time do we have to close on a house after getting approved? So Devin, I think there's, I think it's we reserve the funds for 60 days, correct?
correct.
So we'll add you to our list and then we'll reserve the funds for 60 days. Right now, you know, we are getting applications, but, you know, we do have enough funds available that if you need more time and you're, you know, outside of that 60 days, if you just let us know, you know, we can let you know what that process would look like, but generally 60 days is kind of our window.
Yeah, and so the way it would work is we generally can extend if, let's say, you have a lead on a house and you're asking for a little bit more time, or if there's no one else in the queue, where we can extend for an additional 30 days. What happens once that time limit is reached, and let's say there's someone else in line, it does not mean that you cannot, you know, get funding again. It just means that you will be moved back into the applicant pool. And that just means that you'll still be eligible. We'll just put you back in the pool and then you'll be able to come back up once more funds are available. So it's kind of like a line. That said, if you've been in the pool for about a year, we will contact you to kind of recertify you. And that's mainly to make sure that your income still meets the qualifications, and to make sure that we are still, you know, when we offer you the funds, you'll be able to take advantage of the program.
That's right. Yep. Thank you, Devin. Another question before I move on to my next steps is, what is the definition of a displaced person who has not worked in 12 months? So the definition for our program of displaced would generally be a displaced homemaker who, you know, maybe was divorced or was a homemaker and then, you know, because of a divorce, maybe was a homeowner as well, but we could potentially use that displacement as a first-time homebuyer with that definition. If you haven't worked in 12 months, you would definitely have to be able to get a loan, right? So that probably is a lender question in terms of what income they could use to qualify you with. So I'd reach out to a lender to see about that. Certain income sources the lender is going to be able to use, and certain income sources they're not going to be able to use. So it really depends on your unique situation. Next question is, in West Roseville, West Affidavit in the unincorporated, is West Roseville, West Affidavit in the unincorporated area of Placer County? I don't think so. I think it's closer to Citrus Heights, right?
So it depends. So I might share my screen really quick, and I can give just a quick overview of what this looks like. So this is kind of the county's kind of interactive GIS parcel service. I've just quickly turned on the city limits.
Devin,
So
we can't, sorry, we can't see it.
Oh, let's see. Are you able to see it now?
Yeah, it's loading.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Perfect. So what you can see is, generally speaking, this is kind of the West Placer area. This is where most of the incorporated cities are. So in particular, Fitterment Road kind of goes in through Roseville. So not all of it is. So there are pieces right out here that are available kind of around Athens Avenue, and then all this area just south of Baseline Road. And then you can see Granite Bay going up to Penryn, Newcastle, Ophir, the North Auburn area, and then Sheridan out here. Wise Road is also unincorporated. And then anything outside of Colfax, so Meadow Vista, Forest Hill, Alta, all the way up to kind of Tahoe Vista, Tahoe City, Kings Beach. So generally outside these areas, it is allowed. What I would recommend is if you have a realtor, speak to your realtor, they'd be able to help you. There is also the tool that you can look it up and see whether it's in the unincorporated part of the county or in a city. And the cities do have their own programs. You can reach out. The city of Roseville has a program and the city of Rockland has a program.
That's great. I think that's super, super helpful, and just visually being able to see. We have a couple of questions while you're switching slides, Devin, if I can circle back to our audience members. Question is what kind of loans through the lender can we do? Can we do FHA, VA, conventional, USDA? Great question. We have found that FHA and VA generally don't like our down payment assistance programs, unfortunately. So as much as we would love to work with those programs, they generally don't always work. USDA can potentially work with our program. That'd be a lender question, and then definitely conventional. And CalHFA, conventional with CalHFA would be fine as well. And how do you decide how much an applicant qualifies for, since you said up to $125,000? So we'd look at your pre-qualification and the price of the home. And I will say we will hopefully have some new sales price limits coming up, but we are capped at 442,000, I think is our cap. 442, is that right? Or is it 465?
It's now 465.
465, yeah. So it's capped at 465,000. So we'd look to see what you would need to qualify for from that maximum, let's say 465,000 sales price to the loan amount that you qualified for. So some people may only need 25 or 50,000, others may need the full 125,000. So we look at your housing ratios and your loan pre-qualification to help determine that for us. And then the last question that we have is, do you have a list of zip codes, Devin, for unincorporated areas that maybe, is there a way we could send the link out to our attendees?
We can share the link. I wouldn't necessarily say zip codes are the best way to look at this, because zip codes don't necessarily line up to city limits. Yeah,
great. Oh, I have more questions. There's chat and then there's Q&A. So I'm seeing lots of questions. So sorry if I've missed a few of you in the chat. Let's see. I missed the income competitive rate. What is the percentage, please? I'm not sure I understand that question. If you're asking what the interest rate is for the program, it's 3% a year. And you'd only pay that back at closing. If you had a different question, if you want to shoot that back through the chat, I will respond to that. Can you be a single head of household and qualify for the program? Yes, absolutely. As long as your total household income doesn't exceed our income guidelines. Next question is, how about any callers with realtors? I'm not sure I understand. Do you understand that question, Devin? I'm not sure I understand that question.
My guess would be, are there like qualified, like, do we offer a list of realtors? We don't have necessarily a qualified list of realtors. Generally,
But we're working on that.
yeah. Generally speaking, right now we have a list of lenders that work with the program, and we can provide that list. And I believe it is on our website as well, but I will double check that. That list might not be updated.
Yeah, that's right. And as we mentioned earlier, if you're, and we have some lenders on today's call, and that's fantastic. If you are interested in being able to use this program for some of your borrowers, reach out to us, and then once you get it approved, we can get you added. And then the last question is it 80% of the median income for qualification? So we have an income chart that we use. It's not exactly 80, it is 80%, but the calculations are a little onerous when they figure and determine what the incomes are. So use our chart that we gave you, that we make available, because those are the actual incomes that we qualify you against. So we'll look at your total household size, your total household income, and determine where you fall in that chart.
There's also a couple of quick questions. One is, what is the definition of a displaced person who has not worked in 12 months? I mean, that is the definition of one. To get displaced, you would have to provide documentation of either an eviction or some sort of kind of displacement. And that I would recommend reach out to us directly, and we can work with you if you believe you qualify on that. Can you send us some links for other programs for people with higher incomes? We can send you obviously the Cal HFA website, and they have a number of programs. I'm not specifically aware of many other programs, but we can include that in the email.
Yeah, and what I would say is, the lenders that have approved our programs, they work kind of all over, and they may have information on other programs, right, that are available, and most of them also are able to work with Cal HFA. So I'd encourage you to talk to a lender that is familiar with the Cal HFA program, or is an approved Cal HFA program lender that can look and help identify some of those state programs that we don't have access to, but they as a lender would have access to. So, make sure, and that's, you can't apply directly through Cal HFA. You do have to go through a loan officer to do that. So, as you're deciding who you're going to work with for your loan, make sure that if that's a program you want to look at, that you work with a lender who has access and is able to work with Cal HFA. Okay, great questions. This has been really fantastic and engaging. So what we want to do is kind of give you some next steps after you have applied, right? So we talked about what documentation you need. We've gone through the application process and kind of what our responses look like and how to submit things and what we need. Well, what happens after we're done? So once you have submitted a complete application, you'll receive that formal approval notification that we sent to you. As we mentioned, you've got 60 days to shop for a home, and be in touch with us. We definitely want to help you through this process, and we really are excited for you to get a home, right? And so, this is a great program. So, we want to be a resource to you. Also, the approval along with your loan approval letter will mean you're ready to begin shopping for a home. So, make sure that you contact a real estate agent, begin shopping for a home in the price range that the lender has qualified you for. Don't be surprised in today's market to put multiple bids on homes. It's a tough time to try and find housing. Hope is that with this great program, it will help you have stronger bids, and hang in there. It's going to be a journey. not necessarily going to happen the first time, but hang in there and keep us engaged and informed along the way. Okay, I think that is all we have for today. Do we have any other questions that we can answer?
I'm not seeing any other questions. So once again, thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your evening to kind of learn more about the program. Like I said, oh, it sounds like we have one question. Let's see. Angelique, did you have a question?
My question was whether or not you could be a single head of household and qualify for the program. I missed the beginning, so I don't know if you covered that previously.
Yeah, so the answer is yes. So your household status doesn't matter as long as you meet the income requirements and you
Great.
are a first-time home buyer.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, not seeing any more. We have our contact information out there. You can reach myself. We have a housing specialist, Anne-Marie Novotny, and then Robin as well, who is our consultant who underwrites this program. You can also reach out directly to the Placer County Community Development Agency. We have an Auburn office. We also have a Tahoe office. You can also walk in and ask questions. We're always happy to come talk to you. Once again, thank you all very, very much, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you. Good evening.